All right, so you've been keeping up with all the financial news lately, right?
Yeah.
And we're here to help you break it all down.
Yeah.
Today, we are diving deep into market trends, a certain tech giant and their moves in AI,
Interesting.
and even what's going on in the global energy landscape.
Wow. Sounds like
Get ready for some serious insights.
I'd like to cover.
We have got a market briefing to unpack, so
Okay.
let's just jump right in.
All right.
First, let's rewind back to last Friday, October 27th.
Okay.
It was kind of a mixed bag on Wall Street.
Oh.
The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq both dipped, with the Nasdaq taking a more noticeable tumble.
Okay.
But the Dow Jones managed to eke out a small gain.
Interesting. You know, that contrast between the Dow and the Nasdaq
Yeah.
might point to something
Oh,
interesting.
yeah.
You know, the Dow, with its focus on more established companies,
Right.
could reflect a growing interest in value stocks,
Okay.
especially with some of those high-growth tech stocks facing a bit of pressure lately.
Makes sense. And then there's the Russell 2000,
Right.
the index of small-cap stocks, which had a surprising rally that day.
Okay.
What do you make of that?
Well, small-cap stocks tend to be more domestically focused.
Huh.
So that rally could be a sign that investors are feeling optimistic about the U.S. economy.
Okay.
They are betting on those smaller companies to benefit from continued growth.
So a bit of caution mixed with some optimism.
Yeah,
Got it.
I think so.
But now let's switch gears to something a little more,
Okay.
well, electrifying.
Oh,
Bitcoin is still climbing, hitting $71,378.70.
wow.
And Ethereum is right there with it, closing at $2,629.90.
This continued momentum in crypto is definitely something to keep an eye on,
Yeah,
especially in light of the uncertainty we're seeing in the traditional markets.
right.
It's almost like some investors are looking for alternative places to park their money, places that maybe aren't as tied to the ups and downs of the stock market.
That's a really interesting point. It makes you wonder if this could signal a shift in how people think about finance, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Crypto has been on the fringes for a while now, but this sustained surge
Yeah.
could be a sign that it's becoming more mainstream.
Definitely something to watch now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a tech giant dipping its toes into the AI world.
Yeah, hey?
Apple,
Oh,
they just launched Apple Intelligence on their newest iPhones,
right.
and it's generating a lot of buzz.
It's a pretty significant move. Apple is known for its sleek design and user-friendly interface,
Yeah,
but they haven't always been on the cutting edge when it comes to emerging technologies.
right.
With this launch, though,
Yeah.
they're signaling that they're serious about playing in the AI space.
I have to admit, I am curious to see how Apple is going to integrate AI into their ecosystem.
Yeah.
They've always been good at creating products and services that just work seamlessly together.
Right. And think about the vast amount of data Apple already has about its users. That data is a goldmine for training and refining AI algorithms.
So they're not just launching a new feature.
No.
They are potentially creating an entirely new way for people to interact with their devices and the digital world.
Exactly. It's a long game, and I don't think we will see the full impact of this for a while.
Right.
But it has the potential to be a real game changer for Apple,
Yeah.
and maybe even for the entire tech industry.
It makes you wonder what this could mean for companies like Google and Amazon, who have been leading the charge in AI for years.
Right.
Do you think Apple could catch up?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
Apple definitely has the resources and the talent to make a big splash. But it's a crowded field,
Yeah.
and they'll need to offer something truly unique to stand out.
Okay, let's shift gears now and talk about something that's been making headlines.
All right.
Oil prices.
Okay.
With geopolitical tensions and production cuts, it feels like we are on a bit of an energy roller coaster.
Oil prices are always sensitive to global events. And right now, there are a lot of factors pushing prices upward.
Okay.
Tensions in mentioned specific region relevant to source OPEC's decision to cut production.
Right.
It's creating a lot of uncertainty in the market.
And OPEC always keeps everyone guessing right.
Yeah.
Their announcements can send shockwaves through the financial world.
Absolutely.
It makes you realize just how interconnected everything is.
High oil prices don't just affect drivers filling up their gas tanks.
Right.
It impacts industries across the board, from transportation and manufacturing
Yeah.
to even the cost of food at the grocery store.
It's like a ripple effect, right?
Absolutely.
And speaking of interconnectedness, how do you see these high oil prices playing into the whole inflation picture?
Well, energy costs are a significant driver of inflation.
Okay.
When the price of oil goes up, it tends to push up the price of everything else.
Right.
And that can create a vicious cycle
Right.
where wages try to keep up with rising prices, leading to even more inflation.
It's like a game of catch-up that no one wants to play.
Exactly.
And all of this puts even more pressure on the Federal Reserve.
Right.
Every word they utter is being scrutinized because everyone wants to know what they'll do about interest rates.
You're right. The Fed is in a tough spot.
Yeah.
They already raised rates several times to try and tame inflation, but it's a delicate balancing act.
Oh, okay.
Raise rates too high, and you risk slowing down the economy.
Right.
But if you don't raise them enough,
Yeah.
inflation could keep running hot.
I can see why investors are hanging on their every word.
And it's not just about domestic policy.
Okay.
The global economy is playing a role here, too.
Okay, so we've got domestic economic uncertainty, global factors in play,
Yeah.
and the ever-present shadow of inflation looming over everything. It's a lot to digest.
It is, and it highlights just how complex and interconnected the financial world is.
Right.
But understanding these dynamics, even at a high level,
Yeah.
can help you make more informed decisions about your own finances.
You know, speaking of global dynamics, there's a lot happening beyond our borders that could have a big impact on our investment.
Absolutely. The global market landscape is constantly shifting.
Okay.
And to really grasp what's going on, we need to take a look at some of the key players on the world stage.
That's a great segue.
Yeah.
But I think we've covered enough ground for now.
Okay.
Let's take a break and pick back up in part 2 of this deep dive.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
You know, it's fascinating to see how events on one continent can, ripple across the globe.
Right.
Take Europe, for example. They've been grappling with some economic sluggishness lately.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And the European Central Bank, think of it like Europe's version of the Federal Reserve.
Okay.
They're facing some tough choices.
It's like they're trying to walk a tightrope, right?
Yeah.
They need to support growth, but they also need to keep inflation in check.
Exactly. And the decisions they make
Yeah.
could have ripple effects for businesses and investors, not just in Europe, but around the world.
It really drives home the point that we're all in this together, globally speaking.
We are. And speaking of global players, we can't forget about China.
Right.
They're an economic powerhouse.
For sure.
And their performance has a major impact on the global economy.
I've been reading a lot about China's efforts to stimulate their economy.
Yeah.
After that slowdown they had.
Uh-huh.
It seems like they're trying to walk a fine line between boosting growth and managing risks.
They are.
Yeah.
And they're also navigating some trade tensions with the U.S.
Right.
Which adds another layer of complexity to the situation. It's a reminder that global economics is rarely simple or straightforward.
It sounds like a delicate balancing act, for sure. So we've got Europe working through its economic challenges, China trying to reignite growth, and all of this is happening against a backdrop of rising oil prices and global uncertainty.
It's a lot to keep track of, that's for sure.
It is.
But the key takeaway here is that the world is incredibly interconnected. What happens in one corner of the globe can have a ripple effect on your portfolio.
Yeah.
Even if you're primarily invested in domestic markets.
That makes a lot of sense. You know, you mentioned earlier that Apple is making a big push into AI with their new Apple Intelligence.
Right.
It makes me wonder how all of this focus on AI is going to impact the job market.
That's a question a lot of people are asking.
Yeah.
Automation and AI have the potential to revolutionize industries.
Right.
But they also have the potential to displace workers.
It's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
On one hand, AI could make our lives easier and more efficient. But on the other hand, it could lead to job losses and economic disruption.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
The challenge is to harness the power of AI in a way that benefits society as a whole.
Okay.
That means investing in education and training programs to help workers adapt to the changing demands of the job market.
Right.
It also means thinking about how we can create new opportunities in industries that will be shaped by AI.
So it's not just about mitigating the negative impacts of AI, it's about creating a future where everyone has the opportunity to benefit from these advancements.
Precisely. It requires a forward-thinking approach.
Yeah.
Both from policymakers and from businesses.
You know, when we talk about big transformative forces shaping the world, we can't forget about the energy transition. We touched on oil prices earlier.
Right.
But there's a much bigger story unfolding beneath those headlines.
You're right. The world is slowly but surely shifting away from fossil fuels and towards renewable sources of energy.
It's a huge undertaking, and it's going to take time.
It is.
But you can already see the momentum building.
Yeah.
More and more countries are setting ambitious targets for renewable energy adoption, and companies are investing heavily in clean technologies.
And this transition has enormous implications for the global economy.
Oh, yeah.
Trillions of dollars are currently invested in fossil fuel companies,
Right.
infrastructure and technologies as the world shifts to renewables. Those investments will need to be redirected.
It's like a massive financial realignment is underway.
It is.
Companies that cling to the old ways of doing things risk being left behind, while those that embrace the energy transition stand to benefit.
Exactly. And it's not just about companies.
Okay.
Entire countries and regions will be impacted.
Right.
Those that have the resources and the foresight to invest in renewable energy infrastructure and technologies will be well-positioned for the future.
It's almost like the world is going through a kind of energy metamorphosis.
Yeah.
And those who can adapt and evolve will thrive in this new landscape.
It's a powerful analogy, and it highlights the importance of staying informed about these long-term trends.
Yeah.
The decisions we make today, both as individuals and as a society, will have a profound impact on the world we create tomorrow.
It's a lot to take in, but it's also incredibly exciting.
It is.
To think that we have the opportunity to shape the future of energy and create a more sustainable world.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder that even amidst all the uncertainty and complexity, there's also a sense of hope and possibility. But I think we need to shift gears one last time and bring this all home.
You're right. We've covered a lot of ground, from the jitters on Wall Street to the rise of AI, from the volatility of the energy market to the sweeping changes brought on by the energy transition. But what does it all mean for you, the listener?
That's the question we are going to tackle in the final part of our deep dive. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of these big, complex issues, global markets, technological disruption, and the energy transition.
Right.
But let's bring it all back to you, the listener. Like, how can you use all of this information to make better financial decisions?
Well,
and maybe even spot some opportunities out there.
The first step is awareness, and you've already done that by diving deep into these topics with us today. By understanding the forces that are shaping the world, you are better equipped to navigate the financial landscape. Think of it like having a roadmap, the terrain, the potential hazards, and the most promising routes.
So knowledge is power, as they say. But how can we translate that knowledge into action?
Think about your own investment strategy and financial goals.
Okay.
Do you want to focus on short-term gains or long-term growth?
Right.
Are you comfortable with higher risk for potentially higher returns? Understanding your own risk tolerance and financial objectives is crucial.
That makes sense. It's like knowing your destination before you set off on a journey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once you have a clear understanding of your goals,
yeah,
you can start looking for opportunities that align with those goals.
So if someone is really interested in the energy transition, for example,
yeah,
what kinds of opportunities might they explore?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The energy transition is creating a whole new landscape of investment possibilities.
Okay.
Companies developing renewable energy technologies, building sustainable infrastructure, or innovating in areas like energy storage. These are all potential areas for growth.
It's like a whole new frontier opening up, right?
It is, and it's not just about investing in specific companies.
Okay.
You can also look at broader trends, like the growing demand for electric vehicles, or the increasing adoption of solar power. There are exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, that track these trends, offering a way to diversify your portfolio and tap into the growth of the renewable energy sector.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
By understanding the big picture, you can start to identify specific areas where you might want to invest your time, energy, and money.
Exactly. And remember, investing isn't just about financial returns.
Right.
It's also about aligning your investments with your values.
Okay.
If you believe in a sustainable future.
Yeah.
You can put your money where your mouth is by investing in companies and technologies that are working towards that goal.
So we've got a roadmap, we know our destination, and we're looking for opportunities that align with our values and goals.
Right.
What's the next step?
Do your research.
Okay.
Don't just jump into an investment because it sounds trendy or someone told you it was a good idea.
Right.
Take the time to understand the company, the industry, the technology, and the risks involved.
It's like any big decision, you want to gather all the information you can before making a move.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to seek out advice from financial professionals who can help you navigate the complexities of the market.
So it's about being informed, strategic, and thoughtful about our investments.
Exactly. And it's also about remembering that the financial landscape is constantly changing.
Right.
What looks like a good investment today might not be so promising tomorrow.
So we need to stay adaptable and be willing to adjust our course as needed?
Precisely. The key is to stay informed, stay engaged, and never stop learning.
Okay.
The world is changing rapidly.
Yeah.
And those who can embrace that change and adapt to new realities will be the ones who thrive.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought. This isn't just about money. It's about empowering yourself with knowledge and taking control of your financial future.
Well said. And remember, the journey doesn't end here.
Right.
There's always more to learn, more to explore, and more opportunities to discover.
So keep digging, keep asking questions, and keep pushing yourself to understand the forces shaping the world around you. Until next time, keep exploring.